Well then, hello everyone. My name is... that doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that I am an NFT trader. Known as a non-fungible token, these are digital assets that can hold a substantial amount of money. And if you buy into them, you can hold a substantial amount of money too. I'm here today to tell you all about the world of NFTs. Because NFTs only exist to get someone else to buy them from you. This is classically known as a pyramid scheme, or in more modern vernacular, a multi-level marketing scheme. Those at the top sell stuff to those at the bottom, and those at the bottom are lied to about how much money they can actually make. The entire industry is full of fraud, theft, copyright infringements, a complete lack of regulation, and is essentially sitting on a giant pile of gasoline-soaked money, trying to pawn it off on you before someone, corporations specifically, comes in and lights the match. Strap yourself in, people. This is going to be a long one. So NFTs were created to get people to buy into cryptocurrency. The two are very much intertwined and easily exchangeable. They're basically used by people in power to move money around and claim that they have more assets than you do. You ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, specifically this scene? Yeah, you might think you're Leonardo DiCaprio, when in fact you're the guy that he's selling the penny stocks to. Both NFTs and cryptocurrency were made to be as confusing as possible so that the layman doesn't understand it and tech bros can exploit those people for their money. Before we continue, go into the comment section right now. There's probably some guy down there trying to explain what mining is, what minting is, what a blockchain does, what DAOs are, and why all of it is completely legitimate. And you want to know something? None of it is. It's essentially a digital lottery where your assets can be stolen at any time. This is the new version of the idiot tax, which is what people call the actual lottery, which, believe it or not, has more consumer protection than this stuff does. You know none of this is legitimate because you can't use it to buy stuff like rent, or groceries, or give to charities like homelessness, or give to public schools, or anything along those lines. You know what industry would absolutely use crypto if they could? The porn industry. And they don't. Let's start with cryptocurrency. Back in 2008, this was created as sort of a reaction to the corruption within the banking industry. Cryptocurrency had no regulations like a normal bank, and were marketed, keyword here, as a replacement for a normal bank. Because there's no regulations, you don't fall into the trappings of corruption like a normal bank has. The problem is, with no regulations comes a complete lack of something else. Consumer protection. Yes, there is a ton of corruption in regular banking and stocks, but you are at least protected from identity theft and fraud. Because NFTs and cryptocurrency have no regulations, you aren't. And this is what drove people to them in the first place. The problem is, the way that Bitcoin was programmed, it ended up not being a better alternative to banking, just sort of a new hotness that was way easier to hack into. This is because all of your public information that wasn't supposed to be public is stored on a little thing called a blockchain. You don't know what a blockchain is, and I'm not going to explain it to you. It was made with deliberately difficult to understand language, and that was intentional. This way, average Joes will spend hundreds of dollars trying to get in on the Bitcoin bubble, not realizing that they're giving all their money away to nothing. This is snake oil. Very efficient snake oil. Now, of course, you could just mine Bitcoin yourself, right? Well, the short version is you can't. If you were one of the early adopters, then yeah, you could have gotten in relatively easily. But now you're going to have to spend millions of dollars of thousands of computers plugged into each other just to get a fraction of one. Because you don't have those resources, you're going to have to buy them off of a third party like Coinbase or Robinhood or whatever Matt Damon's company is trying to do. Seriously, they have the money to buy Matt Damon for a commercial. Look, there's a lot of companies out there that will gladly sell you cryptocurrency. The problem is you don't actually own your cryptocurrency. They do, which means that they can close your account at any time and charge you as many fees as they want to. Imagine, if you will, you have a bank account with $10,000 in it. What if you found out one day that that $10,000 is actually worth $1,000? And then the next day you find out it's only worth $500. And then the next day your account is closed due to having low funds. Guess what? That's cryptocurrency. No consumer protection, remember? But people still made money off of these things. You've heard tons of stories about people buying into crypto at like $10 or $100, and now it's worth $40,000. Except that was a decade ago, and it wasn't you. Spending $100 on Dogecoin because it might go up to $1 one day, or even $20, is what these companies want you to think. Hey, older people, do you remember those buy a star things that you used to be able to do? You would like call up a number, send them a check, and they would send you a certificate of authentication in the mail saying, guess what? You now own a star in the sky. Those companies don't exist anymore. But guess what does? Your money, and you'll never see it again. Hell, people made fun of the guy who invented the pet rock, but he made a ton of money off of that, and probably still has it. Or some estate still has it, or someone still has it. The bottom line is, the money is gone. Now, I had mentioned fraud earlier, right? Are you still worried of hackers trying to get into your account, take all of your money, and then run away to some random place? Well, that is not how real hackers work. A real hacker will call up a bank, pretend to be you, ask for your account information, and then just change it and take it and run. The problem with cryptocurrency is that it is way easier to hack into. And with NFTs especially, this is expected. This is the bread and butter of the entire industry, and it's going to happen to you. There are tons of bots, not humans, buying NFTs online. One trader accidentally listed their NFT online for 1% of its original value, and it was snatched up almost immediately. If a regular banking transaction happened this way, you'd be able to undo it. You might have to call a couple of places and file some paperwork and whatnot, but in general, you would get your money back. With crypto and NFTs, you are shit out of luck. Oh, and this is the best case scenario. In most situations, you'd just be losing everything. When NFTs started to gain traction after one was sold for $69 million a few years ago, everyone who had ever made an original piece online decided to try and get in on this. And they were selling their original copies to someone for some amount. And they were selling the original copies, the copyright, the brand. The problem with all of this is that it was really vague. Like, there were a lot of people buying stuff, and there were a lot of people selling stuff, but all of it was anonymous. And what they were buying is vague as well. No one really knows. All we know is that a lot of people got paid a lot of money, and that money went somewhere. It's all vague. Hell, there was an entire NFT based around Squid Game. The problem is you couldn't sell your NFTs unless you had a secondary digital item, which was never released. The NFT just kind of disappeared one day after people spent a whole bunch of money on it. But hey, it's not illegal. No regulations, remember? But this isn't a one-time problem. This is a built-in tactic for all NFTs. This is standard business practices. The entire industry actually advertises itself as a scam. While most NFTs do look like digital art, the truth is anything can be an NFT as long as it is a digital item. Hell, you could turn this entire roll of paper towels into an NFT as long as someone is willing to buy it from you. There are entire websites based off of brand new NFTs being made every single day. And each one has a bunch of empty promises in them, like we're going to use all the money from the NFT to make a video game or a movie or a TV series. It's Kickstarter. They've used NFTs to make another Kickstarter. But as I said before, they have no obligation to keep their promises or anything. They just want to take your money and run with it. Oh shit, it's exactly like Kickstarter. Except with Kickstarter, people promise a movie, a game, or a product. That's it. They take your money for a service. With NFTs, they take your money with the idea that maybe you can make more money off of it someday. NFTs represent the ultimate form of capitalism. Everything is turned into a stock market. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Now, the one thing you should never do as a trader is admit defeat. If you've invested in NFTs, straight up bully other people into investing in them as well so they can get in on the trend. Emphasis on the word trend, because that's all this is. God, if 80s investors could see us right now in 2020, they would literally jizz themselves in joy. This is a capitalist's wet dream. See, the people who are sold NFTs tend to be middle class and socially isolated. Kind of the same profile of the people who would buy into the make your penis larger emails from the early 2000s. Seriously, nobody who is lower class or poor is buying into NFTs. You need to have at least some disposable income to be able to throw $10,000 at a JPEG. Why is this legal? Well, that's the problem. NFTs, sort of like crypto, are built around this vague and difficult to decipher technobabble that average people can't understand. All you know is some money exchanged hands, and it was quite a lot. But you can't get rich off of it. Yes, you, the person watching this video right now, you will not make money off of NFTs. Hell, NFTs can't be that reliable. If I can sell you one, change the file name, and then sell you that exact same one claiming that it's different. And stop going into the comments trying to explain how that doesn't work, okay? Nobody understands this shit, and you're just making yourself look like an idiot. I think the weirdest thing out of all of this is that NFTs and crypto were created to try and protect your finances more, but they actually protect your finances less. Imagine going to a casino and spending a bunch of money on chips, but then finding out that you can't actually exchange those chips for real money. That's one of the major issues with NFTs. You can put money into them, but it seems really hard to actually take money out, almost as if it was impossible. There are large amounts of money being moved through these groups, and apparently there are people making millions of dollars off of these. But really, it just kind of feels like a bunch of rich people just moving their money from location to location. Hell, they're making so much money that they can take out entire billboards in Times Square dedicated to a brand new crypto that was made just this morning. And hiring Matt Damon for their commercials, I still don't know what's going on there. NFTs aren't even art for the sake of art. They're not like Michelangelo's David or the Mona Lisa. Hell, do you want to hang this in your living room? No. Nobody actually wants these. Ultimately, I think rich people just need more ways to hide their money, or take poor people's money, and therefore, NFTs are made. You can't tax NFTs the same way you can tax real money. Those Swiss bank accounts overseas are getting real expensive to maintain. But if I say I have a JPEG that's worth $10,000, tomorrow it happens to be worth $0, and the next day it's back up to $10,000, I mean, how do you tax that? I don't think any government could actually figure out how to tax that. I mean, give them time. They'll probably figure out some way to tax these, and then poor people just won't be able to keep up with it, while rich people invent a new way to hide their money. It's different than other financial institutions because investment bankers can show what they've done and what assets they have, like this roll of paper towels, for example. NFT creators can't. They use smoke, mirrors, obfuscation, and sometimes straight up lying to take your money as quickly as possible and then run. To go back to the cryptocurrency example, Ethereum isn't like Apple or Microsoft, who have a board of directors and shareholders that they have to answer to. Ethereum isn't anything. And so they're not bound by any rules or regulations that normal corporations have. This means that anyone who is poor, let's just say someone who doesn't have millions of dollars invested in this, can have their content stolen at any time. And people who aren't poor, let's say people who do have millions of dollars invested in this, can get in contact with those creators and get their content back immediately. So once again, it's a system designed for the rich only, and so that poor people can give up their money with the idea that maybe they'll get it back someday. Do you think they will? The big philosophy behind NFTs is twofold. Possession is ownership, and access is permission. All info on the blockchain is open and available for everyone to see, going against the original philosophy of crypto. All these people were supposed to be anonymous. They're not. Plus, some people were able to mint their NFTs pretty early, like the Overly Attached Girlfriend and Bad Luck Brian, getting anywhere from $60,000 to $500,000 in Ethereum money. Strange thing though, because they're on the blockchain, all of their accounts are public, and you can look at them now and find that they haven't withdrawn anything from them yet. Almost like they can't. For some reason. Why? Well, because there's some actual code in a lot of these NFTs that say if you try and interact with this in any way at all, it'll drain your resources. Sometimes people will find extra NFTs in their wallets that they didn't buy or get in any way. And if they try and interact with them, like say sell them or delete them, Well, guess who just gained access to your account? Remember, access is permission. Like I said before, the entire industry is built upon fraud. Now, the biggest downside to all of this is corporations. Now, corporations don't actually control the crypto market and are only starting to barely dip their toe into NFTs, but the whole point of cryptocurrency to begin with was that no corporations had their hand in it. It was a completely independent market. But it's capitalism. Corporations are going to find their way into this market eventually, and they're going to regulate the hell out of it. Hell, you can make an entire NFT based off of copyright material. There's an Inuyasha NFT. You're telling me I could make a Disney coin NFT and the mouse wouldn't come in and kick my ass so hard the entire industry caves in on itself? Because they would. They have done worse for less. Somehow some major corporation is going to come in, take control of everything, regulate everything, and the people who are currently trading are going to lose everything. Unless they're hyper wealthy, then they're just going to pay to find some loophole in the system. And when corporations take over, not if, when, they're going to use all the information with NFTs and crypto to look up all your information. Because guess what? Everything's public on the blockchain. So Nestle, Amazon, or Starbucks will be able to take all your info and find out if you were ever part of any anti-capitalist page like anti-work or work reform. And then guess what? All the value of your NFTs and crypto, gone. That's the future of NFTs. That's the future of crypto. That's the future of this entire industry. You will lose everything. So why? After all of this, are video game companies trying to get into NFTs? Well, unfortunately, this is the first step of corporations taking over. If they can add NFTs to their video games, they can regulate them and put little fees in there. This is not really that much different than microtransactions, and they've been doing that for over a decade. Let's sum all this up so we can get out of here. In 2008, the economy collapsed. Bankers basically turned mortgages into a gambling operation. If you want more info on it, go check out the 2016 movie The Big Short. They'll fill you in. Soon after, crypto came about. After a few years, it started a bubble, so they created NFTs to try and get more people to buy and sell crypto. It then became a battleground for the wealthy and hyper-wealthy to steal stuff from each other while pitching this to poor people to try and get even more of their money. But most people who buy in lose money and never see it again, because the entire system is rigged. Now, if you want someone to actually tell you how all this works instead of watching a 33-year-old make jokes about it, go check out Line Goes Up by Folding Ideas. They explain everything perfectly. Allow me to quote them directly. This is why enthusiasts are unreliable. You can't trust what they're trying to say because they're already holding a hot potato. And as much as they insist they really, really enjoy the feeling of a burning hot potato on their hands, do they, or are they just hoping you'll catch it? Dan Olson from Folding Ideas. I really can't put it better than that. Just remember, GM, GN, HODL, diamond hands to the moon. Retain value. We're all gonna make it. The line can only go up. Don't spread FUD. Don't let your hands become paper. Or your NGMI, HFBP. NFTs. The horrible world of digital assets brought to you by the apex of capitalist greed.
Hey, it's me. Get him. No, I don't care if he's busy. I need you to get him now.
What is it?
I just sent you a link. Remember that group you shut down a few years ago? They're back.
They're back? Huh. We'll see about that.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to help us make more videos like this, go to patreon.com/geekswelcome and donate to the show. You'll be able to join our Discord, see videos a day early, and get your name shown at the end of our videos.